Okay, remind me to put like the tag of this video that there's actually an Avengers spoiler in a Game of Thrones spoiler episode. Yeah, so just a heads up.
I'm kind of disappointed. That's my biggest disappointment from this. It was a fun episode, but it's like when you take a step back and look at it.
When you look at it from an objective and strategic point of view, it's like, yeah, they could have made better decisions to limit the casualties.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to another awesome episode of the Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3 recap. I'm your host, Mr. Toffee, and joining me are, of course, Ken from kkp.com, as well as Nick from buzzpop.tv. So, after seeing the really awesome, huge battle of Winterfell, what do you guys think? I mean, I won't say I'm completely awestruck, but at the same time, I'm impressed at the work they've done, especially when it comes to making a night battle seem plausible. What do you guys think?
Honestly, I'm quite underwhelmed.
Oh, underwhelmed. Not overwhelmed, not whelmed, but underwhelmed.
I felt not enough major characters died, number one. And number two, I fear for the end. I fear for the 6th episode that it might not be as satisfying an ending. Because, that episode felt a little bit too fan servicey.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people are, the basic is seven seasons before this is working up towards this episode.
To this big bad
battle, and then maybe it didn't hit that high expectations that we wanted, because, come on, I mean, as viewers, we are spoiled.
Yeah.
Just a week ago, we saw Endgame, and then just within a span of a week, we get this. So we've seen all the past battles in Game of Thrones, and then we have a high standard is what we want to look at, right?
I mean, it was directed by the guy that did Hard Home, Battle of the Bastards. One of the best episodes of Game of Thrones was done by this director.
I agree with what Nick said, because the build-up, right? And then we saw a few characters, as we mentioned in last week's
We
episode.
had build-ups from the first and second episodes, so this has to be the payoff.
So
you guys feel that the payoff wasn't really what you expect, or did you feel like at least there was some boxes they ticked?
Taking Ken's point just now, last week we saw Thanos, the character that we have been living with for 22 films. So I felt there was a bigger payoff there, because we actually understood his motivations, where he came from, his sacrifice of Gamora to get the Soul Stone. So I felt Infinity War and Endgame really built the character, so that when he died last week, I felt something. But this one, for 7 seasons, we've been told about the Night King, the Long Night. This character is 12,000 years old, and I barely know anything about him. Where does he come from? Why did the Children of Forest created him? Why is he such a thing for 12,000 years, and for him to just die from...
and if I may add, it's not about empathizing on the bad guy. It has nothing to do with that, but it's about, you need to know their motivations to understand why they are in that position. And like what Nick said, it's payoff, and it's like they build you up, and they just pass up with a whimper, because he didn't even mutter a single word.
There's no line.
Yeah, there's no line. It's all
8
about
seasons, no line.
It's all about theories and assumptions from
the books.
From the books, like us on Twitter, and as well as those on YouTube who make countless videos theorizing.
Well, is he a Targaryen? Is he actually Brandon Stark? Why does he need babies from Craster's Keep? What is his endgame?
A good thing that I realized when he was, he get bathed in fire from Dany, right?
Oh, Dracarys,
Dracarys, and then he stayed there, and he's a Targaryen.
Yeah, maybe like...
I think that's this whole theory where basically it's more like showing, don't telling. Like, the less you know about the bad guy, the more scared you are of him. People don't realize that this guy, he raised the dead pretty well.
But maybe
he sent the hordes pretty well.
Maybe that's a sign of good storytelling. I give you all these clues. I fuck around with your head. At the end of the day, it's just a bad guy who just wants to kill Bran.
Yeah, so that's why I felt it was ultimately underwhelming, because I barely know this guy, and he's been said as the boogeyman for
like
7
the force
seasons.
for the force of nature. Yeah,
it really felt like this was Snow. Snow just died in 2 episodes. That's it.
In retrospect, perhaps they could have used episode 2 of season 8 to look into the history of the Night King.
Maybe one episode dedicated to like this random person ends up becoming the Night King in the end.
Yeah, like you can't tell me that the answer lies in the Game of Thrones prequel series, which is coming from HBO in 2020.
Yeah,
Like,
you kind of
so
need
I
to
have
sort.
look forward to something in the future.
Yeah, you need to sort that problem like within your current show right
Correct.
now.
That would be very sly of HBO to do that. Or maybe read the books.
Yeah.
Which isn't finished yet, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like-
So we've got a force of nature kind of villain who felt a bit underwhelming because again, a lot of build up to this guy who can he's just there for the sake of being evil or
That's
just destroying things.
He's built to be like a force of nature,
Like a perfect MacGuffin.
and then he just died to a prick, like from a
No,
Valerian
I
steel.
actually don't mind the surprise ending
how he
right there,
died?
of how he
Okay.
died. But
Okay.
I see your logic there, where basically like this is a villain that's not built to be the ones like Darth Vader. They're just built
Yeah,
like
or Thanos or
just that.
Palpatine. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different kind of villain, but maybe some people don't like him so much. But at the same time, you saw the shit he's pulled off, right? I mean, from the last season and the season before that, with the zombies coming in through the wall and stuff and everything. So
Yeah.
again, it's more like the show don't tell kind of approach about. You know, like how Sauron was in the Lord of the Rings. I mean, you know a little bit of the history,
This is exactly
but at the same
like
time,
Sauron,
it's like
yeah.
the force of nature of evil. You know,
Yeah.
seeping through this particular universe, this particular game world, this particular fantasy world. You know, with enemies coming in and they're just there because they want to wipe the slate clean of humanity of sorts. I know it's not a compelling villain, but at the same time, it's a villain lah.
Like even with Sauron, right?
Sucks.
You had lieutenants that you could root for, like the Uruk-hai guy,
Yeah,
Saruman. So you had people you could root for. Like this
Or
one-
hate, you know.
Or hate, yeah. This one is like even his lieutenants are nameless, so you could.
And they all look the same.
Yeah, it's like zombie captain 1, zombie captain 2. Yeah, it would be. That's the thing. It would be more compelling if they actually brought back someone from the dead, like Stark, Caitlyn, or
Lady
Robb
Stark,
Stark. Yeah, you know, coming back from the dead as a lieutenant. Wouldn't that? I know it seems slightly cliche, but at the same time, that would be the most harrowing thing to see. Having a Stark kid kill a dead Stark kid.
I still think they could have done, in retrospect, episode 2 could have been a focus on the Night King. So it would have at least there's weight to him towards, if the makers know that he's gonna, bite it
Yeah.
in episode 3, spend episode 2 in, maybe half of episode 2 in building up this character for us to finally understand who he is. So the theories will still live. I don't know. I doubt they're gonna delve into the backstory of a dead guy in episodes 4, 5, and 6.
It's not.
So I thought it's like a missed opportunity.
So what do you guys thought about how dark or how harrowing the fight can be? Like, you guys played a bunch of strategy games more than I ever have. So what do you guys think about, like, from the layout to the shots to everything else?
The way I think about it is divided into 3 acts. The first act is basically the outer battle, so the ones with the cavalry and the
field
foot
battle.
soldiers. Yeah, the field battle. And then the second act was when they went indoors.
Yeah.
And the final
CQB,
act.
CQB.
Yeah, and the final act was basically the Godswood.
Yeah.
Let's say the Godswood and the Creeps. So that's how I would think of the episode. And if we want to start with the first act,
Okay. I thought
We're gonna have to go with the bad anyway eventually. So
So it's the setup. I mean, we've played. I don't know. Our viewers probably even played their own versions of strategy games and whatever.
like Total War, your
And
StarCraft,
especially
Empire
Total
War.
War,
Yeah.
which is probably the most closest realistic, a representation of how wars happen. So I don't know. Danny and John might have a big army and all the experience in war, but they never learn from anything
They did
because I don't know. If you're in a defensive position and then you send your cavalry first
instead of your footmen.
instead of your footmen. So I don't know. And then I was chatting with Nick earlier, and then about the arrangement of
Yeah.
the barriers, the arrangement of the soldiers, because we thought, we could have done better. We would have put them in a different position.
Yeah.
You think with the many wars they actually fought, they were actually would know any better, especially Battle of the Bastards, but obviously John does not know much
Nah.
about fighting in the end. Yeah.
The first question is why didn't you use the dragons to clear the fog of war?
Yeah.
That's question number 1. Question number 2 is why do you send the cavalry into the fog of war without knowing what you're fighting?
Yes.
Question number 3 is why do you have the Unsullied in front of the moat for them to die before they turn on the moat into
Yeah.
a lake of fire?
I thought they had so many.
Yeah, it's strange.
They had so many devices and opportunity to whittle down the army because these are not living beings. They are
Yeah.
mindless and they just charge at you. So you want to whittle them down as much as you can.
Without wasting your resources.
Exactly, because they have finite resources.
Undid.
Yeah,
You know,
and
it's
you
like-
have limited resources and you're on the defensive. So, if it was me, I would send out the dragons. Be damned about saving Bran. I mean, sometimes
and then just light it up so
And
that we
just-
can see.
you know that the fire actually becomes a natural barrier to them. You can funnel them. They never thought of it. It's just, come on.
Yeah.
It's quite disappointing. I mean, I expected to see a bit more tactical nuance
Yeah.
in this battle because they have all the resources and time to be prepared. And episode 2 was spent on what? Showing all the defenses, how things are at, and the fact that they said, "Oh, Brienne is on the left flank." So it doesn't even matter because we thought something big is gonna happen, but
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's so. I mean, like, I was surprised when Melisandre came. So at the beginning, it was all dark, and then one figure comes up, and then
Yeah.
suddenly it's Melisandre as a Deus Ex Machina, lighting up all the Dothraki
It
swords.
was a badass scene. I have to give it to her.
It was, but where has she been? Like, you asked that question last episode. Where has she been? Like,
Question: how the fuck did she got through
the zombies.
to that? Because she didn't come from the side. She came
She
from
came directly from the
directly
zombies.
from the front. The last time we saw her, she was at Dragonstone after Jon was in Dragonstone in season 7. So I don't know. I thought it was a good addition, to show it. But I think the inclusion of Melisandre it felt like last minute. It just want to create fear where Dothraki are just purely useless, man. I thought there were 100,000 of them.
You send the Dothraki into this fog of war that you don't see, and then all their lights go out. But as they were running to the army, the ballistas and the trebuchets were like
Yeah.
sending great balls of fire into their own army. It's like,
I mean, they would be used better if they actually waited together with the main bulk of the army. They actually, would be able to give more fighting power there.
yeah,
So, and the archers only came after the zombies are right in front of the door.
yeah.
Where in the past, if you played again strategy, you use your archers to whittle down the enemies from a
As
distance.
they are coming, yeah.
Yeah.
Why they have no?
Like you do a rain of arrows.
Again, it's a disappointment from the strategic point of view.
Yeah.
So, but then again, I might say, it's done on purpose because it's literally the darkest episode. Because you can't see
Like
shit.
literally the
Literally,
darkest
yeah.
episode.
So they don't want you to see things, and if you put all those strategic things that we suggested, it might be good for television or unable to.
Or
cope.
just for viewing. I mean, the director of photography and the director did say that they went for a thematic kind of view,
For
like
a naturalistic lighting.
yeah, black and blue for the first act.
Yeah.
Second act was red and black, was it?
Red when the trenches were, so red was the main thing
Yep,
for
yep.
second act.
And
then
the third was red.
red and blue.
Okay, okay.
When you're
Fire and
back
ice.
into-
Fire
when
and
you're
ice.
back into the Godswood,
Yep.
and it was snowing, but you still had the fire from the trenches.
I can see the artistic choice, but at the same time, yeah, there were times where I felt like, I'm not putting my brightness setting high enough. Might need it for that first act.
I feel like in the first act, the DOP and the director really wanted to show the sense of confusion and claustrophobia
and desperation.
and desperation of like looking out into the darkness and not knowing what's coming. And the one thing that I liked from the first act was how the whites or the zombies were represented as a sprawling wave or mass of just rotting flesh. That's like, how do you fight that kind of shit? When they eventually came, right? It was like the Arsali were not ready at all.
Yeah.
They just came like,
It's like they're just standing still with the spears in their hands. I thought they would actually be in a phalanx position or whatever.
as they should be,
And
you know.
you realize there's so much gap in between.
It's so bad, yeah.
It's like, come on, I would have built a proper shield wall to handle them.
Yeah, just to keep them out. But
Probably the Bolton army have better use with their shields and spears, to be honest.
Yeah. So, point of view of like the first act, it's like everything you shouldn't do in a war.
you did that. Yeah, they did it.
They never bothered about tactics, Then he just like, screw this. I'm gonna light them up, and she's not even doing a good job.
Yeah.
There was a wide shot of the battlefield, and we probably saw what?
3 lines of fire.
3 lines of fire. When I thought
You have 2 dragons.
you have 2 freaking dragons, and you could have done it more strategic, right?
Yeah.
The flyby. So I don't know.
So when they yelled fall back, that was pretty sad. Fall back, and then that's the beginning of Act 2 when they all started going into Winterfell
Yep.
to guard themselves. Yeah.
I thought I couldn't see much of that as well. I mean, everyone's everywhere. here's my only question every time I see these kind of battles, right? You can't tell one guy from the other.
Yeah.
And how do you tell that's my enemy, that's a living guy, that's a white in that commotion?
Correct.
Depends on the sound they make. If they do a sound, I guess that's a white, right?
I don't know, because the whites also hold weapons. They
Yeah.
don't just
It
charge.
was super hard to follow. I mean, this is the same guy that directed Hardcore and Battle of the Bastards, which was way more epic and way more
I feel-
easier to follow.
I agree.
Yeah, so
There are phases in that. There
Yeah.
are phases in this one, but it's so muddled. But then again, maybe the theme is to make it as confusing
As darkly, as
Yeah.
very desperate, as very harrowing as possible.
and I felt Ramin Djawadi, the composer, also got to play his inner Hans Zimmer. There was a few background music which felt like Hans Zimmer, like Inception-y or
Alright, the blares and stuff. That was when the Night King
Yeah.
army started doing stuff, you know.
yeah,
you could-
that was like.
In fact, the music actually helped a lot to actually let me know which are the bad parts, because again, that's what good music is supposed to be for these
Yeah,
fights.
definitely.
Like, okay, I can't see what's going on most of the time, but at the same time, okay, I know they're losing because okay, Ramin Djawadi is doing his Night King theme.
My main question 25 minutes in is, what the fuck is up with Dragonglass?
Yeah.
This is something they've been building for like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And you see varying effects of Dragonglass. Like in previous seasons, there would be like an ashing effect, like if you ever remember Buffy the Vampire
Yes.
Slayer. It's like right?
Yeah, just sprawl, just
But
like shatters.
this one, they didn't shatter at all. The whites didn't shatter. So is it only White Walkers that would shatter? That means whites wouldn't have that same effect. Although when you saw Lyanna Mormont,
Yeah, it just fell.
but that white did shatter.
Yeah,
It
it
did.
did
Okay,
shatter.
okay.
So for
then-
most
Varying effects, like,
yeah,
I guess.
for most
Like,
of the battle, like you saw people on the ramparts, they didn't shatter any of the whites. But for the bigger ones, like the Night King or the Zombie Giant,
I don't
they
think
shattered.
HBO has that big of a budget considering they spent it on everything else. So maybe you're like, oh, we're having selective shattering.
There's
so-
too much
so-
shattering budget. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
The fact is, it's again coming to strategy, right? The way they now we're gonna light up the
Line up the trench, man the walls here.
Normally you do that if you want to catch your enemy by surprise,
Yeah.
and most of the time your enemies are with conscience, human beings. You want to
Yeah,
scare
you
them.
can't actually catch a dead person in
With
surprise.
this dead people, why don't you just do it from the start? Why would you want to sacrifice all these needless lives? I mean, like you're basically opening a buffet for them to come to you. You're not defending yourself properly.
And that doesn't pay off for them well later in the second act.
Yeah.
I was questioning earlier as well. Like, why the hell are the Unsullied in front of the fucking trench? Shouldn't they be behind the trench so that whatever comes through the trench they can poke?
Yeah.
It's like.
No, they're fighting like they're wildlings.
And
They're
even
fighting
though-
like they're expendables, pretty much.
It's crazy, man. It's just. What were they thinking? I mean, they put 55 knights into this. But.
Here's the thing, yeah.
You know.
Here's the thing. You have long spears.
Yeah.
What's the reason for a long spear? It's to keep
Range.
It's for
Range attack.
And you just wait for them to come to you. What's the logic there? You basically spear infantry,
Yeah.
and it's all about keeping them in a distance to stop them from actually engaging in hand-to-hand combat. And you don't even see formation with Brienne and her squad. They were just
Like, charge!
Yeah,
Oh,
they
hold
Yeah,
your position.
hold your position.
they were just
Yeah.
clumped together. There's no strategy or whatever. It's just like, you know what, they come, just whack them down.
Yeah, like even if we say that Jon Snow doesn't know how to strategize, he had the wealth of knowledge. Like Jaime Lannister was there, Brienne was there. So many other knights that have fought so many other wars, especially the Kingslayer. He's fought under 2, 3 kings.
He should know something.
He should know something. It's like.
And okay, there's a part when we were inside the crypts when Tyrion said things would have been different if I was up there. We see things that people don't.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the movie, or maybe that's the show directors, whatever way of saying that is why it's happening, because no one is actually taking hold. If you realize there's no one actually making the calls.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah, people who actually have to stick to the strategy, which is Dany and Jon, they're the first ones to be like, fuck this, I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah, fly around in my dragons.
Yeah, there's no actual general on the field, you realize.
Which is pretty sad.
Considering you have all your major characters there.
Like even the Dothraki, there was Dothraki generals, the Unsullied are like, battle worn, they fought so many battles,
Yeah.
but nobody's leading them.
And the funny thing is, okay, your hero characters are at the vanguard, when in typical they are at the back strategizing shit. You're sending Jorah Mormont into that.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
The
man?
first line of
You take the
attackers.
first of
Yeah.
attackers. And I don't know what happened to Ghost.
Ghost came back.
Ghost came back.
Oh, okay, I did not spot
I
that,
did not
yeah.
spot that.
And if you look at next week's episode,
Yeah.
Ghost was in the preview. So.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Ghost is so he said.
Alright.
Alright.
Ghost lives. Put a caption right there at the top.
Alright, cool.
Besides the shit that happens outside, once we start going into Act 2, we start seeing claustrophobia and despondency set in.
Yep.
Especially, like you can see Clegane. He just refused to fight. He's
Yeah.
just like,
Like, I don't want to fight.
this is death. You
How do you
cannot
fight death?
Yeah, how do
Yeah.
you fight death? I'm like, wow.
But
Ask Arya, and then she was on the roof coming down and stuff.
So actually, it is a character arc for Clegane. Maybe that's just for his moment. We should have. They didn't put it. We didn't see anything in episode 2, so they just brought it to episode 3. So that's
yeah.
what it is.
Oh, that was actually one of the highlights for me because I felt that actually captured the horror aspect of of what zombies can do. They are numerous. They can smell fear, and I guess they can track movement and shit lah. I guess. So seeing Arya using her wilds and cunning to actually get around, and eventually getting chased by the zombies because that's how these things are. Yeah, it just ended up alright lah. It's a pretty cool scene in the sense just for the second
I read a
act.
funny tweet yesterday saying that book that Arya threw did more work than Dany.
That is true. That
in
is true.
episode 3, because with all the devices she's given, she's got the biggest dragon on the battlefield and it's wasted. So
Two of them, in fact. Two
yeah,
dragons.
So I don't know, and then she's got the balls to go, we won the war in the preview episode 4. No, you didn't.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed Act 2 way more than Act 1 because Act 1 had so many military blunders, but Act 2 was about like a survival horror.
Survival
It
horror
felt like
aspect.
Resident Evil in the sense, right?
Yeah,
You're
for
opening
sure.
doors, you're making sure there's no zombies before you go to.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
quite sad to see, like what I predicted last week, right? Barrick to go.
Very Dondarrion, yeah.
But then again, I think that's even Melisandre said it. He
He
brought
served his purpose, yeah.
he served his purpose after 19 deaths.
Yeah,
so,
the 20th one actually
20th
counted.
one. So, so okay. I mean, I get it. But it's a noble death. I think I kind of saw it coming, lah.
Yeah, I mean Taurus of Mir isn't around anymore.
Yeah.
And he did the expendable shit last season already.
And Melisandre could have brought him up, but she don't care.
Well,
Yeah,
I think her work would be done after this fight anyway.
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
she has to do.
she was cold. I would have you know what? If you can bring him up, because you could use all the hands you can get.
yeah, because they did get into the chapel when they met Melisandre with a bloody, Barrick.
Yeah.
She could have just like la 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 la.
yeah, like. But okay, that's how they want to do it. But it's a good throwback about her talking to Arya. Blue eyes, green eyes.
I like that line. That's one of my favorite lines actually. One of my quotes, top 5.
What do we say to death? Not today. That was
Yes.
a good shit, dude.
Yes, that was some good shit.
Nice little callback to the first episode where Arya's teacher probably bid it.
Cyril
Yeah.
Forel
Yeah, Cyril Forel.
saying the same thing.
Yeah. Really
Also,
good stuff.
she actually, when she was walking past Grey Worm, she even said, right?
Vala
Vala
Morghulis.
Morghulis. Yep.
Angry one said Vala Dohaeris, yeah.
Yeah. So that's I kind of thought that is this signaling Grey Worm's death? But it's good he got through. It's kind of cool. Although I was feeling that he's gonna go. I mean, like all those monologues in episode 2.
Yeah, I'm like, that's the thing. I'm very disappointed that Brienne didn't die, Grey Worm didn't die, even Podrick didn't die. There's like so many could have, that could have happened,
But they might still serve a purpose in the following episodes. And I don't know. I felt that Jorah going, okay, that's a heroic death. Although again, could have been avoided if Dany actually
Plan better.
had some brains in the field.
Because, like, Jorah's strategy was to be the pincushion. It's
I get
like he's blocking he's blocking the blows and then hoping that Danny would like go and poke the guy.
Yeah.
Poke the sword. So that was his plan. He's like, okay, do it now. Do it now.
But Beric did it with less success, right?
Yeah.
Oh well.
That was super sad to see.
I guess when all hope is gone, just be the pincushion.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. But I think they did serve. There was justice to the death of these characters, which is alright.
Speaking of death, should we go on to the third act?
Oh yeah.
The other
Yes.
major death as well.
Mm-hmm.
As predicted last week, we actually made our calls about who died, and I apparently got one right. Theon died in the glorious fashion possible. Not before some key quotes that came out, like I believe Bran told Theon, "What you did, no matter what, it brought you here to home."
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, obviously. So, yeah, it actually ties everything all together, like all the bad and good that Theon has done.
He's
Up to
redeemed.
his redeemed. He's redeemed, more or less.
Definitely.
And he just wants to hear Bran say that to him, which is good.
You're a good man.
Reaffirmation. Yeah, you're a good man. Yes, that's also another nice piece of quote right there, just to bring it on home that Theon did. At least he went out of a bang, lah, more or less.
Also, it's a recall to, I think it was season 6 or 7 when he saw a point where Yara was being held by Euron.
Yep.
He ran.
Yeah.
But in this position, he's like, you know what? I will protect
He's not
her.
running
So
anymore.
it shows character development.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's a brilliant standoff.
Definitely.
So even though we wanted more deaths, but the deaths that we get in this episode, they are, they earned it. They earned the death, but
They went out with a bang.
went out with a bang.
Yeah.
Yes,
And-
in the blaze of glory.
Yeah, Theon did run. He ran
Yeah.
into the Night King's sword.
Yep. Not very strategic,
No, but heroic
but
nonetheless.
strategic is not a word associated with this episode.
With this
so-
episode, yeah. I have to say my favorite there is Lyanna Mormont dying to the zombie giant.
That little crack when she gets like her
Oh, that's-
spine broken.
So I was wondering when she was turned into the white, maybe her body would be like,
Like that.
Like kind of bent. Yeah.
she wouldn't have the posture to walk straight. So you're like, because it was crushed.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Snap, crackle, and pop. Indeed.
Again, not my favorite character, Lyanna Mormont, but I thought, okay,
No, she has some fans.
For a character that was only supposed to last one episode, and she went on to do so many
like
other
4, 5 episodes, was
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
that's way better than the Umber boy.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like-
But then again, how many? Okay, the giant killed quite a number of people.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, actually, I think with her death, that goes House Mormont.
Yeah. Yeah, Jorah's dead.
Jorah's
and
Yeah, yeah. Let's not forget Jorah.
And I'm pretty sure the people around her when that giant came
Her
up,
knights, yeah.
most of them are those 42 people from freaking Bear Island. You came with 42 people, you don't expect to live.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I guess that's it for House Mormont.
yeah.
Well, the only thing that's surviving is the sword.
The army, is it? Or the sword?
The sword.
Oh,
The sword is basically from House Mormont anyway.
Right.
Actually, one of my favorite things from the third act was when after Dracarys and like the Night King's still alive.
Yeah, that should be a meme though.
He did his magic, man.
Yeah,
he did
yeah.
the raise blade
I
magic.
thought it was a Targaryen. I thought it was a sign that he could.
That
be
he was-
Targaryen.
Yeah, the glasses coming down, thug life.
Yeah, it's like
So,
that was quite crazy because at that moment everybody realized like, okay, we defeated the whites in a sense, but now our friends are rising up.
yeah.
That's quite like when you saw Jamie going like, what the fuck? My friends are coming up now. You know, my own brothers in arms. Like,
Yeah, yeah. That
But here's the
actually
thing,
got
if I was in that
everyone by
position and I have
surprise.
freaking dragon glass, I'll start stabbing them. I mean, let's be logic, right? You have a dragon glass, they are gonna be revived, stab, whatever you can get.
But I think everyone was basically just
Then again,
in shock and awe seeing this happen. so-
strategic is not in this episode.
It's not. Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. If we are there, we're like fucking afraid, and these things are coming back to life. I'll be stabbing them with my dragon glass
Before they stand up. Yeah.
before they stand up. So
You saw like fucking Jon Snow was like, he looked to Dany, he shouted Bran, and then she said like go, and he was running directly to the Night King as Night King was doing his race day magic.
Yeah.
And slowly you see like 50, 100 people are standing up,
Yeah.
and it's not a clear line of sight anymore.
I mean, Jon
And
is
plus the dragon is already coming down. The zombie dragon came
Yeah,
down.
I was
to kick
like-
him off.
the more you talk about it and think about it, this is an episode of bad decisions. decisions.
Very bad
Jon
decisions.
Jon tried to defeat a dragon by screaming at it. So
Yeah.
no!
Yeah.
What are you gonna get? Scream it to death?
Like if at that moment Arya didn't poke the Night King,
Yeah.
Jon would just die from blue flame.
Yeah,
He would
exactly.
question.
Straight up.
He would question his Targaryen lineage because I burned.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be a Targaryen. Because you know he could burn, right? He
Yeah.
was one of those who actually can be hurt by fire.
Yeah.
We saw it in season 2 or season 1. So I don't know. There's so many bad decisions. Come to think about it.
Yeah, basically a Deus Ex Machina actually worked out. I mean, a surprise tag from Arya actually won out in the end, more or less, when she stabbed the Night King. So it just felt like, yeah, you're building up to a dramatic moment with a surprise. I mean, like a twist, not
So
twist
is she
ending, per
Azor
se.
Ahai now?
I don't know. Because you have to fulfill certain conditions to be Azor Ahai.
Okay.
Oh, like a special assassin, is it?
Like the one sword, the Lightbringer,
Lightbringer.
you're supposed to kill a loved one with Lightbringer. That's one of the 3 things you're supposed to do as
Maybe she
Azor
was in
Ahai.
love with Peter Baelish. I don't know.
Secretly.
Because
Like, we
you
don't know. That's probably a hidden
The
volume.
only person killed with that knife was what? The guy who tried to assassinate
Bran.
Bran
Yeah.
and Peter Baelish.
That's it.
Yeah. So screw with that premonition. It didn't work.
The one thing that I like as an after effect of the race date thingy was the Stark creeps started to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought one of the earliest what you call it, they want to come out of its tomb was, I thought it looked like Master is it Master Lewin?
Maybe it's Master Lewin.
Right? I mean that old
The
guy,
Maester,
the
yeah.
Maester Lewin.
Maester
So
Lewin.
like, because he was, I don't know, because he was bald and wearing a dress, but they all look the same.
I figured if that was an Easter egg, they should have just focused on him like for more than half a second, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because he was a pretty prominent guy.
It was. He came out for a while, and then they cut off.
Okay, I must have missed that part.
I like how Tyrion said like, shit, whose idea was it to like hide out in the crypts when you have somebody that can raise the dead?
Yeah.
It was my idea. Fuck. It's like
But it was
Bad decisions, like you said.
it
Bad
was a good
decisions.
emotional moment of him with Sansa.
Yeah.
I appreciate
I
that.
think they were gonna make out.
For dramatic and pathos, yeah. Drama. and
Because
pathos.
she did say earlier like you were one of the best ones.
Yep.
And then I was like, fuck you, no way. You know, it's like
It
while
wasn't-
he was drinking.
It's not a high bar, and even Tyrion can jump over it.
Is there a possibility that we could see in episode 6 that Sansa ends up on the Iron Throne and Tyrion is his hand? Or is her hand, you know? Or...
I'm very sure that's gonna happen.
I
I
don't
see
think-
that sort of
I
happening.
don't think Daenerys would agree, but whatever, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Daenerys will be dead by now, but yeah, by then, you know.
Yeah, I don't think she'll survive. I don't think she'll survive towards the end of the credits.
Yeah, that's the thing. When these people want to go down south and take over King's Landing, but they can't even. They weren't using their brain for this battle in the north.
You know what's the similarity here? It's like watching BVS. You know, it's an awesome battle, but you have to leave your brain at
Yeah,
the door because
yeah.
a lot of things don't make sense. A
Yeah.
lot of characters making stupid decisions
Why
that.
would you make the Kryptonian stuff and then just throw it in water?
Yeah, what's up with that?
You
You
could,
know?
you could have
Just
been.
so Amy Adams can go swimming for that water and then shout, I'm gonna die, and then Superman's gonna. Oh, no, don't open up that can of worms.
Yes, I just did.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
So this kind of brings shades of that when you open up this episode leaner, but from a episode standpoint, like in terms of like drama and effect,
It's good.
it's good.
It's a good episode, but we expected more.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we will build up to this biggest epic, flawless execution, and we know it can be met after Endgame, right?
Yeah.
We expected something awesome, and they topped it.
Yeah.
So, can you blame viewers for this? Maybe
For
we
high
are,
expectations.
maybe we are spoiled.
We are. We're in the golden age of being a geek right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Where Twilight Zone is back, Black Mirror is around, and
Comic book movies are basically the go-to things for even casual moviegoers,
Correct.
you know?
Yeah, DC's getting
They're not
better
goofy,
and better. MCU just had a home run. We're in the golden age.
So
and
it's
we're gonna
okay
talk
to
about this
actually
10 years from now.
Yeah, so it's okay to have high expectations, especially for something as iconic as A Song of Ice and Fire, the books, and its TV adaptation, The Game of Thrones.
I agree. I'm underwhelmed. I mean, I was expecting a 10 out of 10. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. So yeah, that's my. I will still watch it. I will still enjoy it. But the more I watch it, every time I watch, I'll probably
The flaws kind of stuck in the way, lah.
yeah,
They're kind of in a
new
way.
flaws pop in.
Yeah.
New flaws pop in, and like you said, I wasn't even realizing. Yeah, Dani just sent those Blood Riders into the mist without knowing what's in front of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, at least be a bit
And here's the
heartless
thing.
and send.
If
send your
Melisandre
foot
wasn't there, they don't know where they're running.
Yeah,
Even more.
they'll be like left, right,
They
up,
never
down.
had,
You know.
They never had the plan of a flaming
And
sword.
that was the strategy to just go into the darkness.
Yeah, and then oh by the way, we have a flaming sword.
My fire GPS not working. What to do?
Another one. If you can light those flames, why don't you do it for everyone?
Yeah, even the Unsullied or even the Wildlings or even the
So the more we talk, the more plot holes and
The more angry you're getting.
More angry we get.
Why would you ship so many Blood Riders and Unsullied from Essos to just waste them in a minor war in the north when your target was to go down south, right? Why would you waste it and not strategically use the dragons? You know?
It'll be interesting to see how, I mean, with all of this that you guys brought up, it'll be interesting to see where the next 3 episodes are gonna go.
Okay.
I can understand that the last episode, I mean, this is my theory, that it could be a wrap-up episode, a conclusion episode. Everything will all be centered on the 5th episode. I'm guessing the 4th and 5th, Cersei is going to be involved, definitely.
You mean the 6th episode? The 6th episode is gonna be like the end
Resolution episode.
of LOTR.
Yeah.
Where
Something.
these guys went back to the Hobbiton.
Here's the thing.
Or if you want to go on a downer note, maybe the Battlestar Galactica episode, where
Okay, I
everything's
have
all
to say
sorted.
this. My biggest appeal, what got me to Game of Thrones since season 1 was the witty lines, smart people, and the premise that you might not be the strongest person on the battlefield, but if you have the smarts, you have the wits,
You
you
win.
can climb.
Yeah.
Alright? So looking at this Battle of Winterfell, I don't want to see stupids just because they're basically jocks at the moment. They're
Yeah.
basically jocks who's got all the dragons and power, but no brains.
Yeah, no strategy at all.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's my big revelation from episode 3. I actually want Cersei to win.
Wow.
Yeah, because come on, she's playing by the game. She's playing
Right.
smart. She's like, you know what? I don't need to go there where these people are gonna decimate themselves. So it goes back. Right? We always root for the smart folks, right?
Yeah.
Even though we don't like Peter Baelish, but we like to see the way he plays the game.
Correct.
People love Tyrion because of his brains and his wit.
Yeah.
And here are these people on the north, all these Bodos,
Just wasting the resources.
just wasting the resources. Do you want to see these people? Are they worthy to be on the throne?
I hope there's fallback and commentary on this on the next episode where, so who do we have left? Nobody. Why? Because of your stupid decisions, Daenerys.
I think at the end of the day, you want smart people to rule.
It doesn't look like it. Next episode looks like a super shack fest. It's like we won the war. Everybody's getting drunk and maybe everybody's.
I hope
waking
not,
up.
I hope not.
You know, it's like,
Actually, since you mentioned that, all those people who were paired,
Yeah.
Tormund and Brienne, Gendry and Arya, whoever, none of their other halves died. So agreed, could be a shag fest.
Yeah, it could be a
So-
shack
it
fest.
could be.
Not that I mind, but at the same time,
Yeah.
doesn't seem to fit. I mean, okay, sure, you can celebrate after a fight, but again, we need to see
Well, the night is
repercussions
long
for
and
this.
cold.
There you go.
Yeah.
The morning after will probably be worse. It'll be the worst hangover ever.
But really, I mean, after seeing this, I don't think anyone in the north deserves the Iron Throne.
Yeah, it's pretty sad because if you look at it down south right now, they have a strong navy in the Greyjoys.
Yeah, and strategic and building, you know.
Strategic and building in the minds of Qyburn and Cersei, and they also now have the Golden Company, which is legendary.
Also, it says, what do you want to see, an outcome of a show? Do you want to see the people who actually deserves the throne, or just because the perceived good guys? And at the moment, yeah, the perceived good guys are the guys in the north, but so many bad decisions. Yeah.
I want to see an ending deserving of this fantasy series because it's not supposed to be a conventional show. So the good guys may win,
Who actually said it?
but they may.
People might be very disappointed with the ending of Game of Thrones, right? I thought I saw that
They
headline going about. I think it was by was it by Kit or by
Kit Harington.
Yeah, Kit Harington said it. People will be disappointed with the ending of Game of Thrones. I refuse to read that and accept that before, but like this is an episode that just flipped the whole thing for me.
Yeah, the good guys are stupid.
Yeah, the good guys are stupid. It's so
I think they might be disappointed because it's not the ending you expect from a atypical fantasy show. Like, sure, the good guys might win, but at the same time, their fate's worse than death. Like maybe they run the kingdom to the ground.
Look
Who
at
knows?
season 7. Look at season 7. It's all about political maneuvering from Cersei and co, which actually caught everyone on the perceived good side blindsided.
or
So-
bomb-sided in
Yeah,
this
so
case.
most people, again, like I said, people who watch it because we want to see the smarts of like the sly movement. Okay, of course, it's bad to say it's politics and bad guys
I
win.
mean, that's what Game of Thrones is all about.
Yeah. And the worthy winner. If
And George R.R. Martin made his name by sliding left when you think he's gonna slide right.
subverting expectations.
Yeah, so that's why Ned died in episode 7. That's why the red wedding happened. That's why the purple wedding happened. So that's why I was underwhelmed because ultimately this wasn't written by George R.R. Martin.
This was actually
This is
outside
fan
the books.
fiction by Benioff and Weiss.
Yeah, I'm
D.B. Weiss and the other guy I forgot.
And David Benioff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
as someone take out my brain and just watch it for the fun of the action, awesome.
They just want to end it.
Once you
yeah.
put it on, it's like, oh, this is BBS in television form.
It is.
It's fun, but I don't feel it.
Like if George wrote this, I'm sure the strategy would be way better, and you would get real deaths. You would get like the big ones dying. You know?
I mean, like, do it, coward. Do it, coward. Like, kill someone that's worthy of like.
3 more episodes. Hopefully something major happens. Too bad it's not in this fight lah.
But
No,
it-
really.
Any death after this, it doesn't feel as impactful.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't feel as like, it has to be a gut punch.
The one thing to remember is when D.B. Weiss and David Benioff wanted to take on the project, George asked them one question: Who do you think will end up on the throne? So turns out these 2 writers gave the correct question, i.e., they learned of who George intended to end up on the throne.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope it's a George-like ending that we would be like, fuck. I
Okay,
love
we
this
are
shit."
still
You know,
three,
it's
we
like-
are still 3 episodes before this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so I will put it out on the limb and saying, I see Sansa. on that. I see Sansa on it because she's probably the smartest person up north there. I mean, people might say, oh, but that's Tyrion. Tyrion is clouded by love. Sansa is, but she puts family. She puts logical thinking above everyone else. So I'm putting out on a limb there saying it's gonna be Sansa.
I like your one, the one where you say Cersei ends up being like the bad guys actually win because
I want to see her.
the good guys are so stupid. You know, it's like
Yeah, I want to see her, but don't forget, we live in a. I mean, if it was George directing this, yes, we will see Cersei, but we live in a time where movie makers and filmmakers are so afraid of taking a very, very bold decision.
unfortunately.
That twist of seeing Ned Stark's head cut off, it will not work in 2019. It worked in 2012. It will not work in 2019 because of the fear of.
Well, considering that the book was written in 1996.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
he made it in a simpler time when there was no Twitter or there was
Yeah.
no Facebook. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I agree what you say. I mean, I think to appease fans, we might see Sansa,
Unfortunately.
but ideally, I want to see Cersei up there.
Cool. All right. Thanks again, guys, for talking about episode 3. We got 3 more to go, so 3 more episodes, and maybe even a recap of our entire Game of Thrones experience from season 1 onwards or so.
Yup.
Another time. But in the meantime, this is Mr. Toffee signing out alongside.
Nick.
And Ken, we'll talk quite a lot this time.
Yes, slowly. See ya.
Ba 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 ba.